What's up, y'all? This is Simba the Speaker again, your guide to cleaning business success. Welcome back to another video. Welcome. If this is your first time on the channel, please subscribe. Definitely give me a subscribe. And if you found value in this video, if you think I'm putting in at least enough effort to show y'all that I'm trying to give you guys some value, you can give a thumbs up. I'll say that at the end of the video as well. I'm trying to get comfortable to see when to actually say it, whether I should say it at the beginning or the end of the video. But yes, it's good to see you guys again. Like I said, like I said in my previous videos, I drop videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. you can expect a video. And sometimes I'll probably just, when I can, try to even add some extra videos in between. Yes, I do have a wine glass with some orange juice with a straw. So that's pretty cool as well. Out of the ordinary, the juice is actually pretty good. Let's see. Tastes better out of straw for sure. But yes, so today I want to talk about an underrated way to make money. An underrated way to make $10,000 to $20,000 a month in 2025. And why do I say this is underrated? This is underrated because, one, I don't think a lot of people realize the benefit of this business model. I don't think people realize that it's a low barrier to entry. And I think because the business model is for a boring business or an ugly business, an unattractive business, I think people underestimate the value of this business model. I'm going to get straight into it. There's something I usually say. Excuse me, y'all. I'm going to try to get straight into it because every time I start talking about, and you can see it in my previous videos, every time I start talking about like anything that has to do with this business model, I just get so passionate and I'm on here for like 40, 50 minutes. Just talking. In a good way, right? Giving value, giving game. But a lot of those times, I'm like, hey, I'm going to just come drop a 10, 20-minute video. I don't want to take too much of your time, and I just get into it. So I'm going to try to start getting into the concept faster, and we will go from there, right? So back to my handy-dandy pad. We're going to get into that, right? So what are we talking about? We're talking about an underrated way to make money, especially money online, without using a lot of hours. Something that's flexible so that you can adjust it to your 9 to 5, or you can still run the business while having a 9 to 5. This underrated way is the remote cleaning business model. The remote cleaning business model, yes. It is an underrated way, right? It is an underrated way to make money in 2025. Now, the beauty of this is that although I'm talking about the remote cleaning business model, we also have, I'm going to put it in parenthesis, a remote home service business. Now, why did I put that in parenthesis? I put that in parenthesis simply because it doesn't only have to be cleaning, right? There are other house service or home services that you can offer remotely, right? You can offer remotely. Some, we'll put it here, you have lawn care, pool cleaning, window cleaning, junk removal, so all of these services can be ran fully remote, and you actually don't have to do this. You don't have to provide a service. Now, the way this model works is you technically bring in the clients while the independent contractors actually carry out the service. So what I'll put it like this, right? We'll put it in notes like this. Clients requests for service. We I like to say assign. We assign a service provider contractor completes the work. So one thing I like about this business model simply is the fact that you don't have to be an expert at whatever you're selling to a customer, right? If you're selling cleaning or lawn care or pool cleaning, you don't have to actually know how to get the job done. What you technically need to know how to is what you technically need to know how to do is close the sale, right? You need to know how to close the sale, as well as build the business foundation for your company that actually run. And we're going to talk about the framework actually right after this. But so this is the model here, very underrated, right? And then we also call it the middleman model. It's called the middleman model as well. And as you can see, the reason we call it the middleman model is because right here, this is us, the middleman connecting the client to the service provider. And what we're pretty much doing is just building an online presence. And now this online presence will allow clients to feel comfortable enough to actually call us or message us to inquire about a service, right? They're going to see our website, our Google My Business profile. They're going to see the phone number and the business email. We're going to make it look as legitimate as possible. We're going to have, a nice business name as well as a solid logo. We're going to have everything that would cause a client to look at our company and be like, they more than likely have the solution to my problem, right? So this is the model here. Let's go into the framework, right? We're going to go into the framework, how this works, right? So pretty much step by step, the first thing you're going to do, right? Because I know now that we understand what the underrated way to make money is, now we need to go and break down how do we even get this going? How do we start this, right? And so I'm going to kind of give it to you in simplest terms in which you can see, you can watch this video over and over and understand how to do it yourself. And if you don't, you could always call me. You can always book me for a one-on-one. I'll have my link below shortly, actually. My link YouTube should have verified me. I'm going to add my link below. It should be in this video. And you can contact me for a one-on-one. So we can do a consultation to see if this is something that'll be right for you. Or you can even go on TikTok and Instagram and contact me, and we'll get it going. Okay, so the first thing we're going to focus on is the business foundation. The business foundation. Remember, I said as a middleman, this is what we're going to be working on, right? So what does the business foundation look like? We are looking to get the LLC. We are looking to get the EIN as well, right? Once you get the LLC, you're able to use those articles to then get the EIN, which then would lead to your biz bank account, right? So you're gonna want to do that. Remember, you want to split your personal and your business expenses. Any of your business expenses, revenue, profit, should not be flowing through a personal account. It does not help with organizing your finances. And when it comes time to have to pay taxes or pay whatever, or even get a tax write-off so you can pay less taxes, you want to be organized. And it's going to be hard to do that when you have the business funds, the business revenue, profit, whatever you put aside for labor. It's going to be hard to financially organize that if you're having it running through two different accounts, the personal and on the finance side, right? So we have the business foundation. We have the LLC, the EIN, the business bank account, right? So if you actually wanted to actually go deeper into this, right? we want to go deeper into this, we can add in a website. We can add in an email. We can add in a phone number. So we have the business foundation here, right? LLC, EIN, business bank account, website, email, phone number. So we got that going, right? So now that we have all of that created, what we're gonna want to do as well is look into the tech side of what we're gonna need, right? So technically, tech side, right? I like to add. So we'll say systems and automations, or we'll say systems / automations. Because technically, we're talking about tech. The website and the email and the phone number would count as well, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on systems / automations. And so, what is that going to look like for us, right? So, with the system and automation, you're going to want to get your CRM, which equals customer relation management. A customer relation management system is, so you're gonna want to get that CRM. Now, some of you, if you want to go a step above or go the extra mile, there's another thing called, you got like MailChimp, which equals email blast. You can look into SMS. You can look into, and another one is go high level. Now this is a good game I gave you right here. If you go high level, you can actually create an SMS and email automation. Right. So now we have our CRM. If we want, we can actually send out emails and text messages, but I wouldn't just go straight into that. You want to build up your clientele. That's better when you actually have like a book of clientele. Yeah, but when you're just starting, really just having that CRM will definitely serve you well. Okay. So now, with that being said, right? So now we got the business foundation. We can call ourselves a business. People can contact us. When people contact us, we have our CRM where we can actually put the bookings on the calendar, charge them. If you want for systems automation, well, you don't have to add Stripe, but Stripe, Square, wherever whatever you want to use to actually charge them. So now we have our CRM to be able to keep track of that type of data. Now, what we want to do is we want to start doing some contractor sourcing. Contractor sourcing. What do I mean by that? We want to start looking for subcontractors and independent contractors to work with. Okay. So we're looking for subcontractors / independent contractors to work with. So for the sake of this, we're going to talk about cleaners, right? Where are some places that we can find some actual good cleaners? There are a couple of different places we can use. We can use Indeed. We would like to actually look for somebody maybe that wants to get hired, that already have the team. We have Facebook group. As well, we have Thumbtack. I'll even add in a bonus one, Nextdoor. So boom, right? We have the business foundation set up, so we're good to go on that end. Everything's good to go. Now we have our system, right? The system that will allow us to be able to take calls, book clients, charge them, assign it to cleaners, right? Now, at this point, we've done the contractor sourcing, right? We're looking for different subcontractor and independent contractors to work with. We can find them in Indeed, Facebook, Thumbtack, even Nextdoor. Just a quick tip for this video. Quick tip. Don't forget to vet out your contractors. Don't forget to vet your contractors. I always say this, and I say this a lot in my TikTok videos. So the independent contractors, subcontractors, their cleaning makes or causes, or you know what, their cleanings have a big impact on your branding. The type of service they offer to your clients that you assign them with has a very big impact on your branding. I say this all the time. If the independent contractor does a good job, you can more than likely even turn that client into a reoccurring client. Or they will leave you a good review, which helps when other clients are looking at your reviews. They'll be willing to refer you to friends, family, colleagues. And the good thing about word of mouth referrals, right, is that pretty much costs you $0 in marketing. You already paid for the client acquisition cost for that first customer. So that second customer that they refer you to is technically all profit, right? It's all profit. Obviously, you gotta pay you gotta pay the cleaner, but it's like there is no real marketing cost in that. So with that being said, don't forget to vet your contractors, right? You've come up with a vetting process. There are different ways to do it: face-to-face, Zoom, portfolios, background checks. Just make sure that they are who they say they are and they are good at what they do, because that's going to be very important for your business. So let's get back into it, right? I want to give you guys a quick tip. We have the business foundation, systems, automations, and then we have the contractor sourcing, right? Finding different contractors to be able to get the job done. I give you the quick tip: don't forget to vet out the contractors. Now that we have everything, now the next thing, what number do we put for that? 4, right? So the next thing would be client acquisition. Client acquisition. How do we get clients, right? What does all of this mean? The business foundation and the contractors that we work with. It doesn't mean anything if we don't have clients calling us, right? If we don't have clients calling us to get a service provided to them, right? It could be a cleaning, or maybe to get the pool cleaned or window cleaned, right? None of this means nothing if no one is calling us to try to get some service, to try to get some help, to try to get a solution in which they'll be willing to pay for a solution to their problem. Client acquisition. So now that we got there, we have 2 different ways for client acquisitions. We have the unpaid way, also known as like the organic way. What does that look like? So that right there looks like Facebook groups, word of mouth, maybe making a post on Nextdoor, door to door. Actually, in the last video, I talked about door to door. How door to door is free, but it's not really free, right? It costs a different type of, fiat, your time, right? It costs a different type of currency, your time. So door to door is another technically free one that you don't have to actually pay with fiat cash, except obviously getting like a business card, flyer, brochure, but it's still a pretty free method. So those are the unpaid ways, right? So you can go into different communities, let people know what you do, the service that you offer, family, friends, colleagues, church members. These are some of the easiest people to get in contact with, to actually let them know, like, what do we do, right? And that go back to the word of mouth, the Facebook groups, the door-to-door, letting people know, hey, we're a local cleaning company. We'd love to take care of you, maybe offer a first-time discount, right? So we have the unpaid / organic way. From there, we have the paid traffic, the ads we can run. We got Facebook ads, Yelp ads. Some people don't know about this. Bing ads, Google ads. So for the sake of the video, I won't go too deep into each of them. But the one I preferably like is Google ads. I think Google ads is really good. And that's the one that I built my company with. So I'm more familiar with that. Now don't get me wrong. Facebook ads or Yelp ads or Bing ads may work for you depending on your location, right? And how much money that you're willing to spend. Another thing I want to talk about with paid traffic. Be very detail oriented in terms of the data. How much does it cost to attract the client, right? So let's say, or even before that, right? So how many calls did we get? How much did we pay for? So how much was each call worth, right? And then how many calls did it take to actually close a client? So what are the true client acquisition costs? These are things that we want to actually be very cognitive of, because this will help us scale. We can't scale a cleaning company if we don't know the data, right? Because, for example, let's say you're running Facebook ads, but they're not profitable. All you're doing is throwing money at it. You're pretty much just wasting your money, right? There's a leak in your business, and just throwing more water at the leak is not going to cover up the leak. And so we have these different avenues of ways to get clients. We have the organic, unpaid, we have the paid traffic. And now what you're going to need is a script to close clients. Also, I'm going to add in there a sales process. This is important, y'all. A sales process. From the start of the client inquiring about the service to after the service is completed, what is your process? The sales process is not only just a client calling and you close them. It's also what happens after that in terms of follow-ups, right? How do we do follow-ups? How do we do reminders? All of this is part of the sales process. So as we're getting ready to acquire clients, we need to have a solid script that we can use to close the client. And within that script, we need to know as much information about what we're dealing with. Who are we dealing with? What are the conditions of the home that we're dealing with? Right? So all of this should be in your script. Now, the script doesn't have to be super long, right? You want to be able to close the client as soon as possible. You don't want to make it a multi-step process, well, not a multi-step process, but 100-step process to close your client, right? You're just creating a barrier in between the barrier in between you and actually getting the money for that appointment, because we charge up front. Another gem, we charge at least we ask for a card on file up front. We ask for a card on file up front, right? So you don't want to ask a bunch of questions, but you do want to ask enough questions so we know, okay, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, when's the last time the property got cleaned, how big is the home in terms of square footage, right? What type of cleaning do you need, right? Why did you, maybe another one you can ask is, why did you not like your last cleaner, right? Maybe you can kind of have a casual conversation so it doesn't feel too much of like a robotic back and forth, right? You want to make it sound as natural as possible, but as well as professional as possible. So we got the clients coming in. We know how we can get different type of clients, and now we know we have a script to close the clients. Plus, we have that sales process that's gonna help us close the client, right? So after we do that, right, what does execution look like? This is very simple, right? So I'm gonna put this as 5. Operation. This is gonna be a very short one. / execution. So all that's gonna happen in the operation / execution is we're going to assign a contractor to a appointment. That's it, right? That's for the most part. That is the operational side of it, right? Obviously, it is the sales and making a call, but we're talking about the execution. How do we actually execute? Remember, going back to that first slide I showed, we are the middleman. So what are we doing? Our main job is to assign a contractor with a client / appointment. Now, when I say do that, I'm not saying, okay, once the client closed, here's, the independent contractor, hey, here's the client's number and email, just give them a call and just no. We want to, and this is the beauty of this model, although we're not doing the cleaning, we still retain full ownership of the client. That's our client, right? We're just sending out someone to take care of the labor, but that is ultimately our client. But going back to the operational side, or like the execution part of it, we're just simply assigning a contractor to an appointment so the contractor can actually provide the service. That's why I also like to call them service providers, right? So that is actually what we are looking to do. That's that part. Now, some may ask, okay, that's cool, but like, how can we do it big, right? Some of you guys know how to dream big and know how to look at the bigger picture. How do we do it big, right? How do we increase sales? How do we increase clients? How do we increase the amount of subcontractors we're using? So we like to call that scaling. We like to call that scaling a company. Some like to say optimize, right? Optimizing a company. I'm gonna use both. Scaling slash optimizing. Scaling slash optimizing. Prior proper planning, y'all. Just know, prior proper planning helps. So, how do we scale this type of company? Some quick ways through my knowledge, right? This is some things that I'm gonna add for today's video, right? So one, what we can do is have a plethora of contractors. Things do happen. Contractor, independent contractor, cleaners, subcontractors, service providers, they are all human. No one is perfect. Things do happen. Sometimes they will drop the ball, or a family emergency will come, or something. If you don't have enough service providers, who's going to pick up the extra job? And now we're going to be scrambling to try to get that going. You need to have a plethora. You need to have a book of contractors that we work with, right? You need to have some type of list of subcontractors by location. If you really want to get deep into it, you will have them by location, by how good they clean, how many girls or males that they bring with them as well to do the cleaning. That information, and you can even rank them if you would like, right? And so what you want to do is have this on standby just in case something happens. Just in case if they drop the ball and they can't come, it's like, okay, no worries, we can still send somebody out there. That's another beauty of the middleman business, right? It's not like you have to really tell the client, like, hey, like, this exact person is coming. As long as we can send a service provider to the client, they don't know who's coming. So if someone cancels and you actually switch them out for someone else that's available, the client doesn't know. Another way we can scale or optimize is by, I would say, actually, I'm not even going to say automated. We can say systemizing / automating. I'll add it in. Communication. Right? So the thing with that is you want to have a way where the communication from client to company is flawless, and the communication from company to contractor is flawless. So in terms of growing the company, if we're scaling the company, we're gonna probably get more clients that want to book. How do we make sure that it's flawless even when we have 30 calls coming in, 15 bookings closed? How do we make sure that we're communicating with them as well as communicating with the contractors smoothly so everything is efficient? And there is a way to automate that, right? You can hire a virtual assistant, one that's maybe designated to simply answer calls and one that's designated to simply connect the service provider with the clients. Right there, that would be automating and systemizing communication, because now we've done delegated the task to someone else to do nothing but solely work on this aspect of the company, whether it's communication between client and company, or this aspect of the company, whether it's communication between company and contractor. If we want to then even get deeper into that, because we're scaling, you're gonna want to also find someone, or we going back to the VAs, hire someone that can work on hiring, follow-ups, and data, right? Getting a, it would be really nice. No, it would be really nice. It is really nice. I'll be honest with you. It is really nice having a VA that does the follow-ups, that knows how to hire the cleaners and other VAs, and have a VA that gives you a weekly report on the data, on the numbers, on what everything is looking like, how many cancellations, how many bookings, revenue projection, profit projection. It's nice. It is. It's definitely nice. So with that being said, right, this is just the business structure. I didn't want to go too heavy into it, right? This is the business structure. I'll start it again. Once again, you have the remote cleaning business model, which is remote home service, because you can do multiple different services. And with this is like the middleman model, right? With the middleman connecting the client to the contractor. Now, with that being said, remember the business foundation. We got the LLC, the EIN, the business bank account, website, email, phone number. With systems, we're looking at our CRM. We have the customer relationship management that helps us book, organize data, assign cleaners to different clients for different appointments, charge our clients. And if we want to get deeper into our bag, we can go into like Go High Level, MailChimp to do email and SMS blast. Have that automated. We're looking for contractors, right? We're looking for subcontractors, independent contractors in Indeed, Facebook groups, Thumbtack, Nextdoor. If you want, you can even do Bark.com, put in a test cleaning and see if they would like to work with you. Once again, the quick tip: do not forget to vet your contractors. Then we'll go into client acquisitions, right? Unpaid / organic. We got Facebook ads. No, I am right? I mixed that up. Unpaid / organic. We got Facebook groups. We have making a post on Nextdoor, word of mouth, door to door. All of this may not cost any money, but it will cost you your time. But, you have to understand the trade-off. Time for money or money for time. We have paid traffic, Facebook ads, Yelp ads, Bing ads, Google ads. Make sure to be up to date with data on that. You need to know the client acquisition cost. You need to know for every dollar you're spending, how many dollars are you getting back. You need to know your return on investment. This data will help you see whether you should move forward with this platform. You should not be marketing on multiple platforms. Conquer one platform first, make sure it's profitable, then move to the next one. Once we have the clients coming in, we want to have our script to close the clients. We want to have our sales process. We want to make sure that we sound professional, we sound confident, we sound like experts within the industry. We sound like problem solvers. We have the client solution. On the operational side, what are we doing? We're simply assigning the contract to the appointment, making sure everything goes well on a basic level. And now we want to scale this. We're going to have contractors that we'll be working with, a plethora of contractors just in case something happens. We'll make sure that we systemize / automate communications, right? Maybe have VAs there to talk to the clients and to talk to the actual service providers. Or maybe automated follow-up text messages, right? And then that goes to the third point. We need to automate hiring, having a VA do hiring, having a VA do follow-up, and having someone give us the data. We need to know the current state of our business every week, honestly, every day. But it would make, more sense, it would be more realistic I'll be honest with you. If you would like, you can get a daily report too. That is not wrong, right? You can do a daily report, weekly report, and a monthly report. But you need the data. You definitely need the data. For phones, just some quick tips before I get off this video. For phone, you can use OpenPhone. If you want to get a free online presence, Google My Business Profile. For the CRM, Booking Koala, right? These are different systems that we can use. I think for insurance, I want to say the insurance is Next Insurance. I got to double check. The one I was using, Hiscox. That's the one I personally like. Hiscox. Hiscox. Another good tip is for accounting. If we want to scale, We talked about data, QuickBooks. QuickBooks will help us scale. Knowing our numbers will be perfect. Knowing our numbers will be perfect. Knowing the data is what really helps you truly scale. But look, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I wanted to get straight through that. I know that video probably took a little bit of time, but no worries. Like I said, I would definitely love the thumbs up. As you can see, I try to give as much value as possible. Very straightforward what's going on. Definitely, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Once again, I drop videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. I am your guide to cleaning business success. We're using this business model. You can make an extra $10 to $40 to $50,000 a month. It's really up to you, right? Maybe you just want an extra $1,000 in your pocket, extra $2, extra $5, extra $10. This model can make it happen. Maybe you just want to pay off your student loans. This model can make it happen. So I'm looking to, to help as many people as possible get into this so you can build financial freedom. People, remember, financial freedom is not necessarily making millions of dollars. Financial freedom is pretty much having more income than actual expenses so that you actually have disposable income at the end. That is financial freedom, right? So with that being said, I look forward to you guys watching more of my videos. I look forward to dropping you guys videos. Once again, I'm trying to get these videos down time-wise, but I wouldn't get so excited and the time just flows by. So, but it's like, I think it's like a 37-minute video. 11:35 p.m. I'm here with it. I'm up. I'm going to make more videos for you guys so that, you guys have as much information to succeed with this business model as well. Once again, thank you, and I will see you guys another time.